Hi, folks. Thanks for streaming. This fourth episode of Yumio to Ohanashi features the author of scientific horror serial called Project Threshold, Craig Crawford from Iowa. Thanks for joining here, Craig. And you are the first male guest here, actually.
I'm honored.
Yes, thank you. And just wonder, do you think America, Canada, and European countries have more female authors than Asian countries? What do you think? I just wondered.
Um, I honestly have no clue. I grew up reading a lot of male authors, but
Uh-huh.
then as I've gotten older, there are many, many more female authors, which is great. But I don't have a good knowledge base for Asia and other places to
I
even
see.
guess.
Yes, yeah, yes. We have lots of the great female authors such as the Harper Lee or the Anne Rice or the
Uh,
Flannery O'Connor. That's my favorite. Okay,
okay,
so let's begin the interview, shall we? And
sure.
so, Craig, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Craig Crawford. I'm an
Mhm.
author out of Iowa. I write mainly science fiction, horror, and
Science fiction.
fantasy, not necessarily in that order.
Mhm.
Um, and I've been writing since I was about 14 years old.
Oh,
So,
14, I see. Yes, that's pretty interesting because yeah, many writers in English-speaking countries, they write in a very early stage. It's different from Japan, I think.
huh? Okay. What
Okay,
ages
yes.
do your what age?
Mostly, many writers debut after 30 years old, such as they
Okay.
experience the social life, and
Yeah.
then they wanted to start writing. So that's very different from Japan.
Huh. Yeah.
Okay, so the first of all, I asked this question to everyone. So can you share your latest accomplishment on or your temporary goal that you would like to reach?
Um. Yeah. My latest is this project Threshold. It started as one short story, and a press was excited about it and suggested writing a serial
Uh-huh.
and more stories. And then I ended up writing too many for them to be able to handle. And
Mm,
then I kind of worked with them and a
mhm.
couple other presses, and then this Red Cape Publishing out of the UK read
Red
it
Cape.
and
Mm,
really
mhm.
liked it. And so they're publishing the whole thing. So it's coming out in 4 volumes, and I've got two out
I
now,
see.
and then one will release in November and then December.
November.
So
Mm, mm, mm. I
and
see. Mm,
I want to continue writing on it. I've got more ideas, and
mhm.
am actually writing a second set of stories. So that's my
So
goal.
it's in the both the digital and the physical format.
Yep, yep. And they're both
Mm.
on Amazon and Barnes and
I
Noble and
see, I
Apple.
see,
Yeah,
I see. So we can challenge Kindle or those digital format actually. Mm.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
see. Yes, I wish you good success, and I wish you can continue keep writing. Yes, keep writing is always important. So, how do you brainstorm when composing new scenes, dialogues, characters, conflicts, and so on?
Um, I really do often write to music,
Mhm,
and so when I sit down, I'll plug in some tunes. I've got a
mhm.
bunch of downloaded music.
Uh-huh.
I've got other platforms, and or otherwise, if I get stuck, I going for a walk helps me
Uh-huh.
kind
Yes,
of
same
just
as me.
work
Mm.
thing. Yeah, I don't
Yes.
know what it does, but that physical movement just kind of frees up your imagination.
Yes, me too. I cannot sit in front of computers for hours and hours. So
No.
I try to walk outside and take them. What kind of music do you listen to?
I'm all over the board. I listen to a lot of indie music right
Mhm.
now, but I like instrumental
Uh-huh.
soundtracks, um, hard rock and roll.
Mhm. Hard rock and roll. Mm.
Yeah.
Like?
I grew up on like AC/DC
Ah, ha, 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 ha,
and
ha, ha.
Metallica and those
Uh-huh.
kinds of things. So I
Same as
listen
me.
to that. It kind of
Metallica.
just depends on my mood, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'll use music to set a mood.
Uh-huh.
Something a little faster if I get to like action, but
Mm-hmm.
then other more moodier stuff if I'm
Uh-huh.
writing like horror and just
Ah, yes,
want
yes.
want to set a tone.
Yes, so sometimes you want to listen to those gothic and doom metal to write
Yes.
those dark
Yep. Yep.
stories. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. What was your major influence?
Um, I've had a couple when I was in middle school.
Hmm.
I met a new group of friends, and they put me on to fantasy and science
Hmm.
fiction, which I'd never read before. And so I met my best friend
Hmm.
when I was 14, and he wrote. And so between reading and watching him write, it gave me the idea that maybe I wanted to try doing that too.
Hmm.
And which kind of carried me through high school and college.
Oh,
And
nice.
then um, 2008, I met up with a group called the Wolf Pirate Project, and they're no
The Wolf
longer
Pirate Project, huh?
yeah, they're no longer around, but they used to, you could submit novels to them and they would help you kind of workshop them. They had actual editors that did pro bono work. And so I met this Catherine Rudy and this May, and they helped me workshop two of my novels. And I learned the most from them for this whole writing process.
Oh,
I give
wow.
them a lot of credit.
Yeah, sounds like a artistic of independent thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I see. And are you a pantser, plotter, or prancer? A prancer? Prancer?
Yeah, I'm definitely a pantser. I usually get a story idea, and then I get a rough idea of the ending or where it's going to head, and then the characters start popping out. And once I get the characters and kind of the rough idea, I just kind of start writing. I pick a start point, and I let the characters kind of shape the story.
So when writing those scenes or characters, do you toss kind of words onto your word and try to expand your imagination?
Yeah, I think so. It's usually I don't know quite how to explain it, but it's like one of the characters will get doing something and then consequences play out, and which will shape their actions, and then the antagonists, work off of that. And it just I don't understand the process, but it works. And one thing kind of leads to another, and I think I'm able to see that whole bigger picture of all the players that are in this story, and they just kind of start, everything just kind of happens.
I see. And that goes to the next question. So how do you push your imagination hard?
A lot of times I write regularly. I don't write every day. And I think for me, that's important because I feel like I hit heavy writing periods and then I have to rest my brain or whatever. And then, so to push that imagination, a lot of times I'll do very mundane things. I mean, I'll work on projects around the house. I'll go for walks, and I'll just I won't force myself to think about those things, but things tend to pop up while I'm doing normal everyday stuff.
Daily stuff. Yes, the daily stuff is pretty important because
I think
sometimes, I sometimes come up with a good idea when I'm cutting vegetables actually. So.
Yes, and I don't know how many times I've been stuck on a story, and I'll get up in the morning and take a shower, and I'll be in the shower, and the answer will come while I'm absolutely not thinking about writing. Something will pop into my head. It's when I'm not writing that I know my brain is still working on stories.
I see. So when composing an action sequence, do you first image it in your brain to visualize, or toss words randomly on a blank page and start writing? Or do you have your own ways to compose the sequence?
I think it's a combination of things. I definitely will start to see almost like a movie in my head of how things are playing out, and then I'll write stuff down. But a lot of times I've found that I'll put in a lot of blocking, like, okay, he's standing over here and she's standing over there, kind of like a screenplay almost. And I'll write the first draft, and then I'll go back in and take out all that blocking stuff. It helps me visualize first, sometimes putting all those extra details down, and then I go back in and take out the things that aren't necessary.
I see. So are you interested in Japanese culture? If so, which one do you want to deep dive?
As a kid, my hero was Godzilla. I grew up and saw all those movies. But then as I've gotten older, I've really gotten into like international horror movies and stuff. So I started following some Japanese horror, and I really like a lot of the Japanese folklore. And so those are the kinds of things I'm kind of interested in too, and some of the mythology and stuff, especially the idea of ghosts and spirits. Because over in America, it seems like ghosts and spirits, they can be friendly or not, but in Japanese culture, they definitely, they seem a lot darker in Japanese culture.
Yes, that's what I was raised, and that's why the movie like Grudge or Ring become big hit in Japan.
Yeah.
I see. And so do you read those, what we call kaidan? Kaidan is those scary stories in Japanese.
I haven't yet, but if you send me some links, I will start because I am interested in that, and I would like to expand my knowledge on Japanese horror and those things.
Lots
That'd
of
be great.
kaidan, yes, lots of kaidan were generated during the Edo period. Maybe as you have imagined, yes, Edo period is probably most important period in Japan. So,
okay, yeah.
Who are your mentors and that you think you learned a lot from?
I had really good teachers growing up in junior high and high school,
Junior
and
high and high school.
I think it was because I was excited about writing, but I had three teachers in particular that they this one, Peg Graham, I took a creative writing course from her and my best friend, and 2 weeks into it, she pulled us up and to talk to her at her desk, and we thought we were in trouble. And she said, because of what we were turning in, she said, you guys don't have to follow the syllabus anymore. Just turn in a story a week. And so I had her and other teachers like that recognized that I really liked writing, and they pushed me. And I had one teacher that turned in a short story to a magazine to try and get it published for me, even though she didn't. And it didn't get published, but they were going those extra steps to push me and say, yeah, you're good at this, do this, keep doing these things. So I always credit them. They were great.
I see. So they kind of know that you love writing, and maybe you can pursue the kind of a particular zone. I see. Going back to the previous question, do you admit 90s Godzilla, or do you think 90s Godzilla is a bad film because many people don't like it?
Which one?
98 Godzilla in 98.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big fan.
How about
I really like the original movie, 54 movie, and the Japanese version. I didn't know that existed growing up, but because they brought in was it Ray Milland or I can't remember, but they brought in and dubbed a lot of American stuff to Americanize it. But I really like the original, and I'm really looking forward to Godzilla minus
yes,
one.
yes. It's going to be soon coming.
Yeah,
I
December.
See. And I think the Godzilla Resurrection Resurgence back in 2016 by Anno Hideaki, I think that one did a pretty solid job, I think.
I think so too. I liked it. I thought it stuck more to the original core of what Godzilla is really all about. And yeah, the 90s version, it was almost like Americanized disaster film. And they missed everything that was Godzilla.
Always happening in Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. Yeah, I'm not a fan of them sometimes.
Okay, so we're running out of time, so let's wrap up. Any message to those watching this interview?
If you're a writer, just don't quit. I mean,
that's very important.
Every story I write, I get a little better each time, and other writers do too. You may not see it, but over the course, you write 20 stories or 10 or 2 novels, you keep getting better because each time you write, you see some new aspect. You learn new ways of saying things or describing things. And so just don't give up. And I don't, if you put out a self-published book and it gets terrible reviews, keep writing. Go back to it and keep going, because that's what will see you through.
Yes, that's why I wrote 6 stories so far, and now I kind of getting sense of how to compose a story. And my first story I wrote, it's not going to go out from my hard disk. It's going to be buried forever because the first story is so terrible.
Right.
And finally, what is the most encouraging phrase that you recite when you want to pump up your motivation or crawl out from rock bottom?
For me, it's realizing that failure is part of success. Anytime you do anything, you never do it perfectly or great the first time, and you're going to fail. And that's just part of the process of becoming successful. So I try to remind myself that every time something doesn't go my way or I don't get published for a story, it's like, that's okay. that's part of the process.
I see. Okay, thank you very much, Craig. So, folks, if you're interested in Craig, please try his works and follow his account. And truly appreciate your participation in this segment, Craig. Wish you a great success, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much.